Thanks for staying tuned. I'm Stanford Howard with the November 18th Monday edition of the Hgp Sportscast. In athletics, in excess of 1,500 students are participating in the 59th National School Cycling, Swimming and Track and Field Championship, which opened on Sunday at the Lenora Track and Field Center. More in this report. The 59th edition of the National School Swimming and Track and Field Championships is one of the largest single events organized for students and teachers and athletes across Guyana. In his opening remarks, Guyana Teachers Union President Mark LYTE reiterated the commitment of the teaching population to cycling, swimming and track and field event, which is now in its 59th year.
Strong commitment to cycling, swimming and track and field over the last 58 years is testimony of our resolve as a nation. Though our facilities may not compare with developed and developing countries when it comes to sports, we remain committed as a people. There is a tenacity to develop our youth by working with all stakeholders, the Ministry of Education, the AAG, Cycling Federation, Swimming, and the business community.
Despite the overcast conditions, it was a halo of colors at the Lenora Track and Field Center. 15 districts from as far as District 1 in the northwest dressed in brown to New Amsterdam District 15 in the blue did their march past in front of the Honorable Minister of Social Cohesion, Dr. George Norton, GTU President Mark LYTE, Dr. MARCEL HUTSON, Chief Education Officer, and the Director of Sports, Christopher Jones. Dr. MARCEL HUTSON reminded that engaging in sports significantly improves the development of the student. He described it as a profound honor for the Ministry of Education to be in a position to showcase the athletic talents in school across Guyana to the rest of the world.
Championships are created primarily to showcase the collective talent of young Guyanese and to set them on a course for their own glory and for the glory of the nation. As a ministry, we have been constantly focusing on the holistic development of our learners, hence the heavy financial investment in sports and physical education.
Speaking at the opening ceremony, Minister of Social Cohesion Dr. George Norton referred to the event as the place where champions are born.
With the dream, we have embarked on a series of programs to ensure that you benefit from the best facilities and coaching possible. Via our ground enhancement program, we have been upgrading community play fields all across the country. We have also undertaken the construction of 2 new synthetic tracks, which is nearing completion. Once open, the synthetic track in Linden must be used not only by Lindeners, but also by athletes from all the hinterland communities, which are accessible through Linden, such as.
The game officially commenced with the track and field events in the afternoon, following the lighting of the torch by the reigning champions, the District 10 athletes. For Hgp Sport, I am Stanford Howard. Despite the inclement weather at Lenora, the 59th National School Cycling, Swimming and Track and Field Championships has begun, featuring 15 districts. It will be a busy week at the Aquatic Center, National Park, and the Lenora Synthetic Track. Jaden Samuels, tell us more.
A kaleidoscope of colors to usher in this year's championship is what it was at the Lenora Synthetic Track as the cream of Guyana's sportsmen and women compete for the next 4 days. Upper Demerara Kokwani District 10 are the defending champions and will be coming harder this year to maintain the titles aboard. Here are a few scenes of the opening races on Sunday.
Get first place in 5,000. Last year I get third. Actually I come back, I say I want the record. I say I need the record. So let's see, so before I stop. because again next 2 years and they'll always stop. But eventually age.
Very hard. When you train hard, you're easy to win. So I'm putting in the work to do this season to win.
Taking a look at swimming, heats have started and will intensify as the competition progresses.
So there's a call for representing conditions 3, and this is the 1, which is 3, and this is number 1. You're asking for the information desk.
At the inner circuit of the national park, the competition between the competing districts was nothing short of intense and could only get better when the action continues on Tuesday. Jaden Samuels, Hgp Sport.
With some football, the action continued in week 2 of the Smalter Girls on the 11 football competition as St. Stephen's edged out West Rungveld and South Rungveld Primary trounced St. Margaret's. More in this report. Another 6 thrilling clashes happened over the weekend as the girls showcased their talent at the Ministry of Education ground. In the first match of Saturday's proceedings, patrons were able to witness St. Stephen's and the defending girls West Rungveld battle it out. In just the 3rd minute of play, a high ball from the St. Stephen's girl caught a West Rungveld defender on her arm, which landed a penalty kick for St. Stephen's. The penalty kick, which was converted, put the St. Stephen girls into the lead, which they held on to throughout the game for the win, 1-0. In the second game, Marion Academy continued with their winning ways when they defeated Genesis 1-0. That goal came from Ashley Walton in the 5th minute, while in game 3, Smith's Memorial and TIMHERI drew 1 apiece. Those goals came off the boots of Smith's Memorial, Kenisha Abrams in the 7th minute, and TIMHERI Angel Bailey in the 23rd minute. In the 4th game, South Rungveld Park Primary tasted a sweet victory over the St. Margaret's side. Brianna Elliott just took 8 minutes to open South's Rungveld account, giving them a lead. The St. Margaret girls tried with a few shots of their own, which proved futile. Then came Juliana Young out of South to lengthen the lead in the 14th minute to close out the first half 2-0. The scores remained the same after a goalless second half, giving the South girls a comfortable win. In the last 2 matches of the day, Redeemer Primary had the best of F.E. Pollard with a 2-0 win. The goals came from Leanna Hill with a double in the 9th and 28th minutes. North Georgetown trampled over Tugville 4-0 as Martha Chance produced a hat-trick in the 20th, 24th and 27th minutes, and Renee Johnson in the 8th minute. For Hgp Sport, I am Stanford Howard. It was a stiff competition on Saturday night in the ongoing Rio Indoor Street Ball Championship at the National Gymnasium on Mandela Avenue.
A sizable crowd turned out to see street ball played at a high level of competitiveness in the inaugural Rio Indoor Street Ball Championship at the National Gymnasium. In Saturday night's action, Sparta Boss trashed Kingston, winning by a 5-0 margin and totally eliminating the confidence of the Kingston team members. Gold as Money joined the band with a 5-0 victory as they gullied out Gaza squad. Meanwhile, Leopold Street defeated Broad Street, reducing them to one of the 4 goals scored in the game. Future Stars got their campaign off to the perfect start, leaving Stabrook Ballers behind in a 5-2 victory. In other exciting games, the Sophia squad got the better of Islands All-Star 3-1. According to tournament coordinator 3-Pete Promotions, this is the first time in local history that an indoor community streetball championship will be played for $1 million first prize. Action in the tournament continues on November 21 at the same venue with another round of group games. Jaden Samuels, Hgp Sport.
In motor racing, Team Mohammed remained unbeaten, but the day belonged to the young Zane Maloney as the curtains came down on this year's clash of the champions at the South Dakota Circuit on Sunday. Jaden Samuels tell us more.
In what could only be described as a surprise, the young speedster unleashed not only speed but class driving to topple some of the notable names in motor racing. Taking his time testing the waters in the 15-lap feature event, the Bajan quickly summed things up and took to the lead in commanding fashion, much to the liking of the impressive crowd at South Dakota on Sunday. In second was Luke Bowler of Trinidad and Tobago. For the big bikes, Team Mohammeds remained untouchable with Richard Cooper and Daniel Linfoot winning their respective events, while Harry Truelove had to settle for second. And for the big boys, it was a day in which Andrew King was unstoppable in Group 4 despite stiff competition coming from Mark Maloney and Stefan Jeffrey. For the Group 3 category, Sulman Yusuf of Barbados took control, while his brother Ahmed led Group 2 after Guyana's Ramiz Mohammed encountered damages to his machine in just his second race of the day. Jadon Samuels, Hgp Sport.
Thank you, Jaden. And finally, in golf, Ravindra teased his way to the top in the Eldorado RUMS 2019 Golf Championship title at the Lozignan Golf Club at the weekend. More in this story. In what could be described as one of the better days for golfing with the sun out in its glory, Ravi Hari produced the best net score on Saturday, only just edging out veterans Fazil Hanif and Peyton George by one stroke. In the other two flights, there were keen competition also, so much so that in the 0-9 flight there were a four-way tie for the best net. In the 0-9 flight, winners and their scores were first place Jaipal Suknaran 71-9, second place reigning Guyana Open champion Avinash Prasad 71-2, and third, almost every week in the winners row, former captain Patrick Prashad 71-9. The fourth scores were often by veteran Michael Mangal, 71-8. In the 10-18 flight, winners were first place Ravindra Hari with a 76-16. Coming in second was Fazil Hanif, 68-15. And in third, Peyton George, 68-18. In the 19-28 flight, winners were in first place Gavin Todd with 69-19. Coming in second was Intimaz Suban, 70-19, and in third, Vidish Prasad, 71-28. Brian Hackett, 72-23, and Chanelli London Webster, 73-15, were close on the winner's heels. Specialty prizes longest to the drive was won by Alfred Mentor, and nearest to the pin by Shantor Tiwari. Best gross by Avinash Prasad, and best gross by Avinash Prasad. For Hgp Sport, I am Stanford Howard. And that's all we have for this edition of the Hgp Sportscast. But do remember, many men go fishing all of their lives without knowing that it is not fish thereafter. Over to you, Handel. Goodbye.